All right, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So it has been a long time since I've done a reaction to this. We're getting back to the Spy Family chapters. I think I've let like 3 or 4 of them pile up. I've been meaning to get back to them for a while. Other stuff happened, kept me distracted. But without further ado, now that I finally have some free time, let's dive back into it with Spy Family chapter 28. As we see, one day last month, we have officially come to an agreement. It goes into effect on the 10th of next month. And you have, I'm so sorry, sir. As the company president, you must. And you have this old man smiling like, President, huh? I won't be the president of anything for much longer. The Desmond Group. Like, say no more. There was no other option. Financially, our company is in dire straits. I only wish I knew how to tell my son that in less than a month's time, Glooman Pharmaceuticals, and you see his son, just Frankenstein-looking kid, standing outside in the shadows, listening to his father, as he goes, will cease to exist. And he has the whole shocked face. So we have Spy Family Mission 28 by Tetsuya Endo. We have present days. We have a dong. And you see Anya just helping sweep up the courtyards. You have, everything's so nice and calm now that midterms are over. It's like, I bet Papa will be more relaxed now that I've dodged that Tonitrus bolt. And you have, what is it, Becca going, so what's he like? Is he strict? Does he get angry? And Anya just wide-eyed like, Papa's a monster about his mission. Total perfectionist. You have lettering by Rina Mappa, translation by Casey Lowe. Becca's like, is he? It can be hard on kids when their parents have high expectations. And you see monster mode Lloyd sounds really hot. And you have Desmond style as you see a rumble, rolling sweep. And you see Desmond just coming by in a whirlwind as he's sweeping the ground. And his 2 cronies like, wahaha, that's the way to go it, boss. It's like, thanks to you, the schoolyard is spotless. And he's just leaning the broom on his shoulder. He's like, heh. As again, to the next one we have, wow, you're even a master at using the broom. You're spinning so fast. It's like, I expect no less from someone who's earned a Stella star. Desmond's just basking. He's like, heh, you know it. He's like, how about running a study group at your house before the next exam? And you see Anya thinking, oh no, that's not Anya. Who the hell is that? You see someone's face. Oh, I think it's the Glooman kid with his face hidden behind a speech bubble going, gotta get close to him. And she, ooh, I want to come. You have Becca getting all angry as the veins popping on her head. She goes, after midterms, I thought I might have been wrong about him, but he really is just an obnoxious brat. Little suck-ups fawning all over him. Now Anya's like, I want to go to Scion Boy study group too. And Anya, Becca's just giving her this unimpressed look. She's like, oh, that's right. You have that thing for him. Sorry I called him a brat. And Anya's like, what thing? And we see a crackle as she picks up someone's brainwaves going, I hate you so much. And she's glancing around trying to find out who it is. Becca's like, don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. And Jeff, I will never forgive you. As you see grumpy Frankenstein kid going, I will never, ever, ever forgive you. And Anya's just staring at him as he goes and plays nice with Damien going, I bought you the dustpan, Damien. He's like, hey, thanks. So Anya asks Becca, who is that guy? She goes, that guy? You mean George? He's one of our classmates. You know George Glooman? He's like, and you see Anya picking up more of his thoughts as he goes, how? How did you get that Stella star? How did my plan fail? I had my butler hire a spy to change his test scores. I don't understand what went wrong. And you see him with his old, fragile little butler as he goes, I want you to hire the best spy that 3 months' worth of allowance can buy. Yes, Mr. George. And Anya's just shocked. She's like, one of my classmates hired a spy? The guy Papa fought the other day? Becca's like, so seriously, Anya, do you like Damien? And she's like, I want to know more about him. Who is he? And she's staring at George. He's like, what? Are you kidding me? So you'll just fall for literally any boy? So you should stay away from George. That guy always seems so gloomy. And you have no, George. Don't give up yet. You still have a chance to get Damien expelled. Like he's trying to get Scion Boy expelled? And you see him reaching into his coat pocket and going swish as he tosses something out. And he picks it up and goes, this is a cigarette butt. It's like, Damien, say it isn't so. And Damien's like, huh? It's not mine. I've never smoked in my life. And you have him calling out, teacher, over here, please. Damien's like, hey, quit it. I told you that's not mine. And then he just punches himself in the face and knocks himself to the ground with an ah. And the teacher's like, what's going on here? And Damien's like, are you out of your mind? And George goes, I found a cigarette butt, and when I called for teacher, Damien punched me. Damien's like, what? And teacher's like, is this true? It's like, Damien Desmond, explain yourself at once. If that's what happened, you're in serious trouble. Jeff, Damien would never do anything like that. George is a dirty liar. And the teacher's like, everyone knows you two are Damien's flunkies. Your word means nothing. And they're like, oh! You have Anya just stepping up, just confident face. And she's like, Scion Boy, never do that. I saw it all. That boy threw himself to the ground. And George is just shocked that he's standing up for Damien. And teacher's like, what is it with those eyes of hers? It's like she can see right through people. Isn't she the one who earned Tondra's Bowl during orientation? 20 years of teacher's intuition is screaming this girl is bad news. And the teacher's like, don't call teachers over for nonsense. Now get back to cleaning. He's like, yeesh, as he turns around and walks away. And Damien's like, you. And Anya's like, heh, letting you get expelled would only hurt me too, because of Plan B. Becca's like, oh my god, that was so cool, Anya. I even totally screamed. Yeah. She goes and hugs her, and Damien's just all shocked and embarrassed. And Becca's like, and now Damien knows exactly how you feel, right? And Anya's still confused, and Damien's like, what? What did you just do? I never asked for your help. Leave me alone. And George's like, yeah, why did you interfere? And Damien turns around, grabbed him, shaking, and goes, and you, what are you trying to get me in trouble for? What did I ever do to you? He's like, damn it, it's all over now, just like my whole life. He goes, your family's company is bankrupt? And George gloomy turns away and goes, that's right, as of today. Damien's like, I mean, that sucks and all, but what's it got to do with me? He kind of hangs his head and goes, it was your family's business that drove mine into bankruptcy. And he's like, huh? It's like, you know, I did see something in the news involving Gluman Pharmaceuticals and the Desmond Group. And George is like, I thought if you failed a midterm or got expelled, your family would be too distracted to bother with us. Damien's silent for a moment as he goes, we drove you out of business? It's like, my dad's company isn't like that. I'm sure there's some business reason for what happened. Don't drag me into it. And Becca's like, he's not wrong, you know, this is too much. And he's still gloomy. He's like, you're right, of course. But that doesn't make my having to leave school any easier. And he's like, huh? Leave school? And George is like, with our business gone, our family will be out on the street tomorrow. Needless to say, that will be the end of my Eden education. And he goes, hey, you know, I really envy you, Damien. You have a prominent family and you're popular. You really are Stella Star material. You're not trash like me. You're nothing like me. And you see, excuse me. And you see his two flunkies trying to defend him going, Damien earned a Stella Star. His family had nothing to do with that. The only thing keeping you from being popular is you. That's all on you, you mope. Damien's like, guys, come on. And Becca's like, his flunkies are jerks too. And George's like, and he goes, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. None of you have any idea how this feels. He starts just bawling his eyes out. He goes, all I ever wanted was to spend the springtime of my life at this school. And now that dream is dead and buried. And he goes, oh my God, this kid is so extra. And he goes and grabs the garbage and goes, even just picking up this garbage will be a moment I cherish forever. Ah ha ha. Trash like me picking up literal trash. It's almost poetic, don't you think? And Damien's like, dude, no one's calling you that. Calm down. And he's crying. He's like, I curse thee, world. My God. And you have Damien going, just cheer up, okay? Let me get you some juice or something. And he just glares at him, or Damien's like, no, of course, juice isn't going to help. Sorry. And you see George going, no, I think I do want a juice. It's like right now. It's like mutter. And he's like, huh? It's like, after all, it's my last day of school. It will be the last juice I ever drink here. Damien's like, right. As the little bowl cut flunky runs off and goes, I'll go buy him one. He just happily slurps away on the juice and he's like, thank you. I do feel a little better. Damien's like, cool. And the kid looks up over the windows and he goes, it's just that I never got to order the deluxe caviar bowl at the cafeteria, not even once. If I leave school without ever having tried it, I know the regret will gnaw me for the rest of my life. And Damien just staring at him, like they're catching on to his act. And you see the next one, he's sitting there just munching away nicely. As you go, oh, and I've always wanted to know what it feels like to wear a Stella star. I wonder if anyone would be willing to loan me one. Damien's like, oh, come on. And he starts glooming. He goes, I worked hard to earn one too, but after learning of the bankruptcy, I couldn't focus on my studies. As foolish as it was, I let my misplaced anger toward Damien drive me instead. The next page you see him just sparkle happy. He's got the little Stella star in his jacket. And he's like, wee, someone take my picture. And Damien's like, you better give me that right back. And you see, okay, next. And Bullcut goes, hey, you're really pushing your luck now. And George just does this evil face. He goes, by this time next month, my family will be flat broke. And that's when I'll probably end up on the block at a Westalis slave market. Knowing a life of slavery in Westalis awaits me. He's like, poor me. He's like, won't you please let me enjoy these last fleeting moments of freedom? Is trash like me not even worthy of that? And you see Anya just patting him, giving this beatific smile and smirk. She's like, it'll be okay. The West is a peaceful country, and Papa and his boss lady are good people. And George is like, and he goes, she obviously knows nothing of Westalis, but still she seeks to reassure me. Everyone here is so nice. I've never been treated so kindly before. He goes, huh? I don't understand. And you see a little drop of tears start dropping down his face. The salty water's pouring from my eyes. And then goes, George, like, would you all grant me one last request? And he goes, I had been so looking forward to our chorus performance at the end of the school year. I'd hoped to become one with you all through the power of song, but I guess we'll never. He's like, oh, if only there was some way we could. And you see a la 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 as Becky starts singing. And he goes, you guys, as everyone starts joining in. It's Becky, not Becca. And you see a la as he puts his hands around Damien's flunkies and they're all just singing and dancing. And he's like, everyone, thank you. I will treasure this memory forever. And Damien goes, George, here, take this. It's a set of my favorite stationery. So you know it's not cheap. He's like, even after you leave here, don't forget us, okay? And he's like, Damien. He's like, take this, it's my favorite book. He's like, you can have my watch. He's like, guys, I was like, to remember me by. He's like, you can have this leaf I found on the road. Just giving him a leaf. I was like, have fun at whatever school you go to next. You'll always be a part of Cecil Hall. It's like, thank you. I promise I'll do my best. I'll turn this pain in my heart into strength. My life may be one of endless hardship, but I will face it walking tall and proud. And you see the dramatic entrance with this little silhouette. It's like, farewell, my dear friends. Farewell, my beloved Eden Academy. Oh, boy. And you see Anya telling the story to Lloyd and Yor later that night as she goes, and then he left. And Yor's like, what a beautiful story. And Lloyd just like, I see. but I'm not quite clear how Glooman Pharmaceuticals being bought out equates to bankruptcy. It's like, what? And you see later that night, George is talking to his father as he goes, our company was near insolvency, but the Desmond Group saved us. We will have new leadership, but I'm deeply grateful to the Desmond Group for making a place for myself and our R&D teams, among others at the new company. However, and I've dreaded having to tell you this, my title as president and the Glooman corporate name have not survived the transition. And George just drops his bags. He's like, wait, so I won't be sold into slavery and I can still go to school? His father's like, what are you talking about? You'll continue attending school tomorrow and every day after. Have you done your homework? And then you see the next day he's just got this just shocked face as people whispering about him behind his back. And Becky tells him, I trust you'll be returning everything you were given. And Damien walks by and goes, you're going to pay us back for that juice, you know. And Anya just walks by and just pats him on the shoulder and walks away. Oh, that was brilliant. Just brilliant. Oh. Alright, so you see next chapter, Spy Family, Mission 29 by Tetsuya Endo, translation by Casey Lowe, lettering by Rina Mappa. As, God, I cannot remember the teacher dude's name. Mr. Grimstash goes, for our next social studies project, I want each of you to investigate an occupation that interests you. You may interview your parents about their jobs if you wish. Alternatively, you may make inquiries at a local business. Or perhaps your parents could arrange an interview with a prominent figure in their field. Of course, should you wish to research educators, I myself will be happy to answer your questions. I can teach you much about our hallowed vocation. You will each prepare a report about your chosen profession and then present it to the class on Friday. Becky's like, yes, I'll take the easy way out and do my daddy's company. What about you, Anya? And you see Boldcut asking Damien, you're going to interview your dad, boss man? He's like, if I can get a hold of him. And you see Anya going, On the next page, you see Yor going, what's a job investigation? And Anya's like, I got to ask someone how they got their job and why they chose it, stuff like that. And then I'm supposed to watch them at work. And Yor's like, and you're thinking of asking me? And she starts freaking going, oh no, what should I do? I mean, it's my job. It's, wait, which job? He's like, okay, Anya, now I'm going to show you what I do for my secret jobs. Like, it changed. He's like, okie dokie. She gets into her little outfit. And Yor pulls out her little knife and she goes, at first I only took this job to provide for my brother, but now I do it with pride. As the shopkeeper says, this job is a noble calling. I should be as proud as any soldier who has devoted their life to their homeland. And you see the phone ringing as they go, oh, that must be the shopkeeper calling with a mission now. It seems this gentleman is our newest customer. What a despicable piece of traitorous scum. But I won't sully your tender ears with the list of awful things he's done, Anya. Now let's go meet the new customer. Like, keep up with me, Anya. And then do the little ninja run with arms to the side, like, okie dokie. And you have the shop analyzes the target's capabilities and defenses. All that's left for me to do is get the job done. It's like, I don't skulk. I'm not the one who should be ashamed. And you have Anya going, you're so cool, Mama. As you see a bunch of soldier security in black suits going, got a problem here. And yours like, the idea is to kill on sight, but killing the wrong person would be a big no-no. So I always study the photos carefully. What makes the job so rewarding is the feeling that I'm digging in and doing my part to clean up the country. When I think of all the lives that are saved by my work, it really puts the zing in my blades. And she just rushes through, just snapping all of them in their heads, and she takes them out effortlessly. And you see, in this line of work, properly honing your body and skills are essential. A good understanding of human anatomy helps too. Always remember that the target is a human being who at the very least deserves a painless death. And she's just flipping up and just cracking a guy's neck and smashing another one's head in. And Yor just goes up to the target and is like, I'm terribly sorry to ask, but may I have the honor of taking your life? And as Yor is going to work killing him, she's like, has blood spraying all over Anya's shocked face. And Yeah, for example, if you simply blank the blank in their neck, they'll be at peace in a moment's time, or with a precise strike to the right part of the brain or heart. Just love that channel. And in the imagination, yours like, Anya, are you okay? We'll tell Lloyd we were at a tomato festival. And Anya's just not impressed as she's thinking about this. Ah, oh boy. And Anya just glances away. He's like, I think maybe I'll do my report on Papa's job. And yours like, oh, yes, well, that's probably a good idea. The work I do at City Hall is important, but it can be a bit dull. And you see Lloyd coming back in as he goes, hello. So Anya's like, Papa, so yada yada yada. He's like, very well then. And you see Berlin General Hospital 2 days later as Lloyd takes Anya into work. She's wearing this little Sherlock detective's outfit. He goes, I work here in the psychiatry department of this hospital. I told him you'd be coming, but don't bother anyone, okay? And she's like, okie dokie. He's like, it's huge. It's like, well, it is the capital's most prominent hospital. And you see Lloyd thinking, a private practice clinician might have made for an easier cover story. But with so many major figures in politics, industry, and the military using this hospital, working here provides plenty of opportunities to steal intel and forge connections. And you see Anya just writing all this down in her little notepad. As Lloyd's like, hey, I haven't said anything more writing down yet. He's like, why are you dressed like that anyway? And you see Anya going, this is how investigators dress. He's like, is it now? Next page you see a boom as he just slaps his lab coat on. And he's like, ooh. He's like, psychiatrists don't generally wear lab coats, but I find this looks more professional. He goes, now, what is it you want to know about my work? And so Anya's like, let's see. Why did you choose this occupation? He's like, why did I become a psychiatrist? He's like, He goes, well, everyone catches colds sometimes, right? But many people don't just catch colds in their bodies, they catch colds in their minds. In PE class, Scion Boy said I was too dumb to even catch a cold. Oh, God. Oh, Damien, damn, son. Lloyd's like, well, do try to get along with him. He goes, anyway, I thought it'd be good to try to help those people. The war may be long over, but there are so many people, veterans especially, who are still suffering. It's like I knew it was a long shot. And Anya's like, with Desmond being such a recluse, I thought if he ever got sick, maybe working as a doctor would give me opportunity to approach him. And Lloyd continues, it was in college that I made up my mind as Anya's writing more notes. And she goes, the next one is, what is your workplace like? He's like, what's it like? And you see, oh, Dr. Forger. So don't tell me that's your daughter with you. And so Lloyd goes, these are the people I work with, Anya. Introduce yourself. And she goes, I'm Anya. It's nice to meet you. She does a little bow. And they're all like, oh, she's so adorable. Look at you working so hard. He's like, at your little outfit. It's like, oh my gosh, what a perfect little princess. Like, here, have some candy. And Anya just writes, Papa's workplace is paradise. Lloyd's like, isn't this lucky? And you see Anya asking, what is Papa like when he's at work? And people go, your daddy's amazing and always so polite and kind to the patients. It's like, oh my. So your father's a wonderful man. I don't know how we ever got along without him. And yet he's always so humble. Everyone at the hospital adores him. In fact, my friend in neurology was just saying how much he wanted to see Dr. Forger at our next get-together. And the director invited you to golf? It's like, Papa, you're popular? He's like, yes, well, it's important to get along. And you see Lloyd thinking, maintaining a diverse collection of contacts is absolutely essential. It makes it easier to gather information and forge new contacts, of course. But in my line of work, what's even more important is becoming the sort of person that makes people think, him, a spy? No way! And Anya's just shocked. She's like, and she starts scribbling again as Lloyd's like, I will talk to the director. And Lloyd goes, you keep taking notes at the strangest times. And so Anya asks, what is the hardest part of your job? And he's like, now that's a fine question, miss. Lloyd's like, well, the wounds that I treat are not the kind you can see, and that makes treating them difficult. Even doctors aren't wizards. We can't ever really see what's inside someone's mind. Anya's like, yeah. He's like, ain't that the truth? He's like, why are you smirking? He's like, and that's why it's so important that we carefully observe what our patients do and say, free of any preconceptions, in much the same way a spy engages with his target. He goes, most important is building a relationship based on trust. That is a delicate and even dangerous process you cannot learn from any manual. It's one that requires careful attention and you think, once again, the parallels to spying are undeniable. The one significant difference is that a spy will inevitably betray his subject's trust. And you see Anya going, this candy's so good. He's like, oh, I was like, would you like some more, dear? Do you want some juice? Do you want to take a psych exam? And Lloyd's like, enough, this interview is over. And he's like, Papa's so serious. He's like, that's one of his positive character traits. I only wish we could get him into a clinical setting where he could really put those skills to good use. And you have Lloyd going, I wish I could, but I'm so busy with my research. And he thinks, I suppose the actual hardest part of my job is having to keep it secondary to my mission. And you have all the doctors and nurses waving, going, well, we should be getting back to work. It was nice meeting you, Anya. And she just waves. And Anya's like, I want to see you work. He's like, with a patient? He's like, I'm afraid that would be a violation of medical ethics. Nor am I able to reveal much of my research to the public. And he goes, well, at least I can show you one of the consultation rooms. It doesn't appear that anyone is scheduled to use this one today. It's like, this is just a normal room. It's not like an OR at all. And Lloyd goes, it's designed to put patients at ease. And Anya just like starts looking around. He's like, but where's the brain fixing machine? And Lloyd's like, what exactly is it you think psychiatrists do? Now, no more silliness. Let's finish your interview. What cartoon did you see that in? And you see Anya just going over to the bookshelf and rustling around. She's like, I'm pretty much done, and I'm bored with that now. And Lloyd's like, stop, don't touch anything. And he thinks, the emergency escape route when I go on missions is in that bookcase. And she turns the lever, it'll open. It's like, you need to keep quiet, Anya. And Anya's thinking, emergency escape route? And you see a little knock on the door as Lloyd's like, one of my wise colleagues. He goes, sorry, something urgent has come up. If you're done with your project, you want me to have your pick you up? And Anya shakes her head, like, no, I'll wait till you're done with work. It's like, being a spy is tough. Lloyd's like, all right then, why don't you play with this while you wait? It's a sand table we use as a diagnostic tool. You can place the dolls and objects in the sand however you like. Doesn't that sound fun? And Anya's like, not even a little. So just don't touch anything else, okay? So I'll be back in 10 minutes. It's like, okie dokie. And then she does her little mischievous face. As you see on the next one, you have this blonde-haired woman with a short bob handing off some papers to Lloyd. As she goes, some documents concerning revisions to the DSM should be arriving over the weekend. And he goes, thank you. Naturally, the agency has a number of assets placed in the hospital to support my cover story. It appears they have yet another mission for me. He goes, have you made the necessary changes to my schedule? She goes, of course. Like, doctor, was that little girl Anya Forger? You two seem so close. And he goes, her unpredictability aggravates me. It's like, oh, there's someone who can actually get the better of you? And you see a clunk as Anya finally found the lever. And you see the bookshelf opening up as you see a little ladder going down. And he's like, now for some real investigating. It's like, the secret passage is so thin. It's like, the topic before us today is the neuroscience behind paranormal perception. About 5% of reported cases lack an adequate explanation. It's like, some kind of serious meaning? It's like, this is absurd. What more explanation do you need behind mythomania? I would posit ghost sightings or hallucinations caused by abnormalities in brain function. And you see Anya just hovering over the little ventilation shaft. And she goes, oh, ghost, this should be exciting. That should enter. And then she moves her hand and clangs on one of the little metal things. And someone goes, that should even entertain the idea. And you see the two doctors below looking up, twitching as they hear a rattling above. So did you hear that? It's like, but there isn't supposed to be anything above this room. It's like, oh no, they're going to discover the secret passage. And they wait in a moment. It's like silence. Like, clearly that was nothing. He's like, anyway, we should have a consistent procedure for when this sort of thing comes up during treatment. And he's like, whew. It's like, I don't have the time to waste arguing. Let's adjourn this meeting. He's like, humph. And he's, oh, I have to get back too before Papa does. And you see a creak as her foot gets stuck between one of the pipes and the floor. And she's trying to move it out. And you see her, my leg is stuck. I can't get it out. This is really bad. And you see her creaking now. loud creaking, clanging noises. She's just making this face, and she's gritting her teeth, trying to get her leg free. And you see the doctor's freaking out, like, oh, what is this? Something's up there. It's a ghost. It has to be. And you see her sprawling, and she finally pulls her foot free. She's like, I got it out. Now I need to hurry back. And you see thump, 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 thump as she runs away. And you see, is it gone? It's like, that was really real. So babies who die from medical mistakes really do haunt hospitals. And they're like, shall we resume our meeting? It's like, yes, let's. From now on, maybe we should keep an open mind when patients speak of ghosts. And you see, remember, and ka-chink, as Anya puts everything back properly. He's like, ooh, like, just made it. And you see her picking up Lloyd's thoughts as he goes, now let's see what she's done with that sand tray. He's like, Papa's back. It's like, I better hurry up and make something. And she goes and runs to the tray. And Lloyd's like, I'm back. And you see her rustle as she's just putting stuff together. And Anya's just like trying to do her don't be suspicious face. She goes, oh, playing with dolls sure is fun. And he's like, oh, let's see. It's like, believe it or not, analyzing the sand tray can give you a peek into someone's subconscious mind. It's like, deep inside you lies utter chaos. And you see she just slammed literally everything into the sand. And Lloyd's just like, what is this? I've never seen a case like this before. And Anya's like, I just mixed them all up. He's like, why did you just scatter the dolls and bury them? And Anya's like, well, that's because the bad guys did his rolling sweep attack and killed them all. I was like, what on earth? Whatever that means, it sounds dire. He's like, she's had me so wrapped around her finger I didn't even notice. But of course, being pulled from an orphanage and into the home of a stranger would be an extreme source of stress. And Anya's like, no, wait, it's like in her own childlike way, she's been fighting hard to suppress those feelings. But to see them burst out of her now in this morbid spectacle, it's like, no, this is my fault. Did I not see it or did I not want to see it? This is my failure as a patient or a parent and a spy. He goes, she needs immediate care. He says to her, shall we head home? Maybe we can stop at a bookstore and buy the new Spy Wars on the way. And he's like, yay! He's like, and after dinner we can work on your report together. Have you been taking good notes? And he sees that she's left her little notebook on the chair, and he goes to pick it up. And she goes, Papa, wait, that's like Flip. It's like, about your spy job. And Lloyd, he's shocked as he looks inside. He just sees a bunch of scribbles and random drawings everywhere. He's like, this is completely unintelligible. He's like, this is, she's like, I'll work hard and write the report myself. It'll be okay. He's like, oh, that's wonderful. Good girl, Anya. Mama, we're back. He's like, welcome home. He's like, did you get to see Lloyd performing his incredible concussive therapy? And Anya's like, his what? As she thinks about Lloyd just punching someone. And he goes, now that's only for extreme circumstances. It's like, the way he punches and kicks and leg sweeps his patients is absolutely incredible. It's like, Papa does violence? You know, borf. It's like, please. And you have the next day, grumpy Beardo face going, and I realized, oh no, so it's one of the other kids going, and I realized that one day I wanted to do the same job too. The end. He goes, you did a most excellent, elegant job of conveying your feelings in that report. Next is Anya Forger. Please begin. And Anya picks it up all bright-eyed and goes, my papa is a psychiatrist. That means he's a feelings doctor. To bring peace to his patients' minds, my papa stays up all night and takes antacids while working very hard. He says he wants to save everyone who has had a hard time because of the war. To build a relationship based on trust, he carefully observes his targets. And you have the teacher going, I would expect no less from you, Lloyd Forger. It's like, targets? It's like, Papa is very determined to make connections. He even plays golf at his job and uses a secret escape route. The kids are like, they pass out candy too. It's like, candy? Is that jargon for a bribe? And you see... and just losing it. And Anya goes, I heard that sometimes he even punches and kicks his patient. And he's just freaking out. Lloyd Forger? And you have Lloyd's boss go, is something wrong, Twilight? And he goes, oh, it's like I just got a cold shiver all of a sudden. And you have, when summoned to the school, Lloyd talked his way out of things with his incredible equivocation skills. Oh boy, alright. Next chapter, 29.1. Sorry, we're on break next week. Alrighty then. Chapter 30. We see why Safe House G is like, so, about Twilight's mission for next week. And Boss Lady goes, to cover all the bases, we're assigning you to it as well. As per your proposal, it is now a joint operation. Don't let us down. And you see the blonde lady from last week going, yes, ma'am. As we have Fiona Frost, Berlin General Hospital office worker. Excuse me. And you have, the woman was a wise agent. Inform Twilight of this development. You two can work out the plan together. And she goes, yes, ma'am. And he's like, just make sure that none of this gets in the way of Operation Strix. And she goes, how is Strix proceeding? He's like, slowly. That said, it was always intended to be a long-term op. And Fiona's like, I'm so sorry. If only I'd been available earlier, I could have done so much more for the operation of the wife role. Like, but perhaps if it isn't too late. It's like changing wives now would draw scrutiny from Eden Academy. And besides, the Forgers are in good standing with their neighbors. We're keeping the family as is. I need you to stay focused on your own duties. And you see Fiona going, but if the Forger Fife were to abandon the role, there'd be no choice, would there? The boss is like, what? You'd better not be plotting something. And Fiona's like, I beg your pardon. She turns around and just walks away. And the boss is like, I'm serious. She said, thump, thump, and a yeesh. As she's walking by, and other people comment, looks could kill. So now she's trying to steal Twilight's off just to make a name for herself? Is there anyone that woman wouldn't stab in the back? And they called her ruthless, arrogant, icy. She pursued her missions with single-minded focus. Her stone face betraying no hint of emotion. Codename, Nightfall. The woman had ambition. And you see her just expressionless face as she's walking down the hall, and you see a bzzzt, and Yor opens the door and goes, hello, and Fiona's standing there, not saying anything, and Yor's like, oh, I'm sorry, you are, and she goes, my name is Fiona Frost, I work with Dr. Forger, I'm sorry to drop in like this. It's like, you're here to see Lloyd? It's like, I'm sorry, he and my daughter just took the dog for a walk. It's like, oh, what a shame. And she thinks to herself, I'm aware, it's precisely what I've been waiting for. And she goes, your daughter left this when she visited the hospital the other day. I came to return it. She gives her a little magnifying glass. And Yor's like, oh, thank you. I really didn't need to do that. Since you've come all this way, would you like to come in? He's like, if you're sure you don't mind. And you see her just sitting down having some tea. And Yor's like, wow, she's so beautiful. Fiona's like, yes. And Yor's like, oh, nothing. And Fiona's like, does she think me a paramour of her husband's? Well, if she gives me an opening, I'll usurp her role as his wife. So in a sense, she's not wrong. And Jeff, what a lovely home. It's like, Yor Briar, if you prove to be an impediment to Operation Strix, I will see you removed. You have Yor going, my husband did the interior decorating. And Fiona thinks, but the skills with which this woman carries herself, I may never find an opening. And Yor's just like, I'm so nervous. Outside of Frankie and Yuri, we've never had a guest before. I'm Lloyd's wife. And you have any direct attempt to remove her would be too risky anyway. Far better to make her leave of her own volition. So Fiona asked, your daughter, Anya, is it? She seems to be quite the active little girl. And Yor's like, huh? Oh yes, Anya's so full of energy. And Fiona's like, that must be difficult. Doesn't wear you down having to raise a child like that? So after all, she's only a stepchild to you. Why put her yourself through that? Unburden yourself. And Yor's confused, like, difficult? How so? Energy's a wonderful thing for a child to have. If she was all listless all the time, now that would be difficult. I wouldn't know what to do. Anya and I have a lot of fun together. And Fiona's like, spare me the affectation. You're no mother. It's like, but I'm sure it's hard for Lloyd with him being spread so thin already. If only I was good at more things. Fiona's like, yes, if only. You need to acknowledge your inadequacy. You aren't fit for this operation. And she goes, indeed, Dr. Forge often complains about that at work. He grumbles that his wife is always, and you have Anya's in the house. And she just comes back in, throws her arms up as you have Bond going, Borf! And Lloyd sees Fiona and goes, Fiona, what are you doing here? And she goes, they're back sooner than I expected. It's like, good afternoon, doctor. And yours like, Miss Frost came by to return this. And Anya's like, my magnifying glass. And Lloyd's like, oh, how kind of you. And he goes, for her to come here, something urgent must have come up. It's like, that was a quick walk. And Lloyd's like, it was starting to rain, looked like rain, so we cut it short. And you see him looking over Fiona going, you could have just left it for me at the office. It's like, what's this about, Agent Nightfall? And you see him mouthing different words than they're saying out loud. And she replies with, I was doing some shopping nearby. And she goes, I'm just here to assess the state of Operation Strix. And Anya's like, this lady's a spy too? And Lloyd asks, oh, what's there to assess? What's to assess? He goes, oh, the market on second? So what's this really about? It's policy for agents to avoid unnecessary contact. And Fiona goes, let me ask you, Twilight, is your walking your dog an essential part of this operation? And she goes, they're having a sale on green onions. And Lloyd's silent as yours like, ooh, maybe I should buy some. Also on pasta and pumpkins, but they need to open more registers. And she goes, shouldn't this woman be handling your errands? Does she refuse to cooperate? And Lloyd kind of gets this angry stares like, what are you trying to say? So I just suggest you try their shrimp. And she goes, I'm saying that it's a great loss to the world to have a man of your talents focusing his efforts on playing house. And she goes, I know I've never told you this, but I'm allergic to shellfish. And you see them just kind of fisting as they're glaring at each other. And she goes, I propose we review our operational tactics. And he goes, it isn't your place to propose anything. And you have Anya going, that lady's fighting with Papa. She one of the bad guy spies? She sure looks scary. And you see Fiona thinking, Agent Twilight, I love you. Oh my God. You see Anya just like, and then she rubs her eyes and she's like, and she's staring at her in complete shock. And you see her just doing like this cutesy, I love you, with all these little hearts and everything, which is a stone cold face. And, and you see Anya just imagine like going like ghost mode, like her soul just left her body. She's just completely taken aback by this. As Fiona continues, how can you not see how I would make me perfect as the wife? I would offer far superior domestic support in addition to operational support. It's like he's so handsome when he glares. And you see Fiona just thinking about how she'd be cooking properly and like just giving him all the money and doing the laundry and recon and first aid. It's like, here, this month's earnings, do with it as you will. It's like, does it still hurt? She's bandaging him up. It's like, here, my report on the enemies you face. I listed everything from their names, ages, and weapons to the number of gray hairs on their heads. He's like, whoa, this is incredible, amazing work, Nightfall. And as you're just imagining as he clasps her hand going, you're absolutely flawless. I don't need that dunce of a woman anymore. For the sake of world peace, I will marry you, my dear Nightfall. As yours is running away crying in imagination. And she's like, and I will give all of my heart and soul, and I don't mean to the mission. And you have codename Nightfall. She was a woman with a certain ambition to be Twilight's wife, as he just imagines her all blushing and embarrassed she gets married. And I just can't take this. Because yours like, oh, why don't I make us all some coffee? Do you want some cocoa, Anya? He's like, Anya? And Anya's just like, dazed, just standing there. And Fiona's thinking, well, honeymoon in the South Pacific, still expressionless as yours, or Lloyd's like, what is she thinking? And you see as yours getting the tea together, and she's looking at Fiona, just glancing at her. Like Dr. Forger often complains about that at work. He grumbles that his wife is always like and then Yor's thinking she's worthless. She can't do anything right. Maybe I'll report her to the authorities. Will you be my new wife, Fiona? It's like, you're sure? Okay, then I'll drop by your house. And Yor's like, but even if he does feel that way about me, I can't really blame him when she's pouring the coffee. Oh, Yor. She goes and drops off, like, here you are. He's like, yay, Coco. He's like, and there's your milk. And she pours a little tin of milk next to him. He's like, thank you, Yor. Fiona's like, huh. Twilight takes his coffee black. Never once have I seen him drink it with milk. You've played his wife all this time and never even noticed. Step down and let me handle this. Next time you see a plop, plop, plop as Lloyd just pours himself a huge dose of milk. And she's like, what? That's impossible. He would never. Could family life have changed him? Is this a side of Twilight I don't know? A side that he only shows to her? And she starts chewing on her nails. And she goes, no, of course. This is only an affectation of his Lloyd Forger character. He's so committed to his performance that he lets his circumstances shape his preferences. Bravo, Twilight. This is exactly why I love you. He's doing it to cover up the taste of the coffee. You see Lloyd just cringing. He's like, hopefully the milk will lessen the damage to my stomach. I should probably ask Yor to switch me to decaf. And you see, Anya just be like, she's so funny. As she drinks her fluff and then drops the cocoa. He's like, oh. Lloyd's like, what are you doing? And Yor's like, are you okay, Anya? The cocoa didn't burn you? He's like, it only got on me a little. And Fiona's like, what a clumsy girl. Had Twilight properly trained her, she should have been able to catch the cup the moment before it hit the table. But of course, he's far too busy for such things. Like, do not lick that bond, it's poison to you. You have raising a strong daughter is a mother's duty. Anyway, and this woman won't even scold her, much less train her. Step down and let me handle this. As her mother, I've maintained a strict minute-by-minute schedule designed to thoroughly maximize both knowledge and strength. Within a month, I'd have her transformed to a Stellar Star procurement machine. And so you're just standing in an army uniform, just whipping Anya. And she's just like huddled over a table. And Anya's like, no, this woman wants to be my mama. I can't let that happen. And then Fiona goes over to Lloyd and goes, once again, I ask you to consider the benefits of replacing your current wife. And she says, speaking of Coco, the other day, and Anya's like, and then Anya just goes up to Yor's like, oh, Mama, sometimes I just love you so much. And Yor's like, Anya, where's this coming from? It's like, the way you wiped up my Coco, you're the best mama in the whole world. And Yor's like, oh, Anya. And Lloyd's like, because she wiped up Coco? I'm sorry, Anya, face. Fiona's like, I can be loving too, you know. And she goes, oh, Anya, I have some super yummy imported cocoa. Would you like some? And Anya just makes this alien face. She's like, Issa! She's just like glaring at her like a cat. Jesus. I'm sorry. It's so dumb. Oh, God, I heard myself laughing. The face. I have to look it out. Oh, God. And yours like, oh, she's probably just nervous since we have a guest. Like, there. She was like, why? Lloyd's like, go play with Bond for a while. He's like, a Worf. And Anya goes up and hugs Bond. He's like, oh, I'm so happy I have a papa and mama who love each other. And my precious Bond, too. It's like, I was so glad I got to be a forger. I'm the luckiest girl in the whole world. The whole world. And she's like wiggling all cutely and hugging. And yours just like, aw. And she's like, Lloyd, I'm going to try harder. I'll work as hard as I possibly can for this family. If only you let me stay. I'll wipe up all the cocoa forever, so please. And he's like, okay. Fiona's like, just train her not to spill things in the first place. Step down and let me handle this. And she looks over as Lloyd just huffs out a breath. And he looks all content and happy as he goes, you already work hard enough, Yor. Just look how much Anya cares about you. There's no greater contribution I could ask of you than that. It's like, oh, Lloyd. It's like, I'll try to be a better wife. And Lloyd's like, what did I just say? You're a great wife. And Fiona's watching going, that plastered on smile of his. Do you understand, Nightfall? And he thinks back to when she was being trained by him as he goes, a spy must never show their true feelings no matter what. Like, yes, sir. Bury your emotions deep. Show no weakness. Like, yes, sir. I will remain stone-faced for the rest of my life. It's like, you don't need to go that far. And you see Lionel from the National Defense Force, Lawrence, a black market dealer, Robert, the politician's secretary. I've spent so much time studying so many Twilights. I know that masterful fake smile of his, and I can see a tiny hint of real emotion seeping out from beneath it. You see her kind of just clenching her fists as she gets up and goes, I just realized I forgot to buy the potatoes I need. Thank you for your hospitality. And it's like, oh, why not wait until the rain dries up a little? She's like, enjoy your evening. And she leaves. And Anya's like, she left. And Lloyd's just like grimacing as he goes, she forgot her umbrella. I'll walk her to the station. And Yor's like, that's a good idea, but be careful. So he chases after her as he goes, hey, Fiona, your umbrella. And she goes, there's something I forgot to tell you. Your handler has assigned me to partner with you on the next mission. And Lloyd's like, what? How could you forget something so important? And you see as she turns around, she's got this sad, disappointed face. And Lloyd's taken back. He's like, Nightfall? And she goes, I'm thankful for the rain. He's like, are you? She goes, for hiding my emotions. She goes, I'll contact you with the details at the hospital. And she goes, because we're spies living in a world of shadows, because my beloved trainer taught me to until the day that this Cold War ends. But for now, even just being your cover story wife would be enough. She goes, Twilight, I was like, just want to be by your side. She goes, playing house has made you soft. And she goes, on our joint mission, I'll show you how capable I truly am. On your mission, try not to drag me down. She goes, I'll make you realize that I'm the only one fit to be your wife. As she turns and walks away. Just, oh, all right. So, thoughts on this chapter, or the last few chapters. As always, like, the comedy in this series is just the absolute pinnacle, just with how they play with the expectations and things, you know, of joy, how they play with expectations, like misunderstandings, like all these familiar tropes with like George like not having fully heard his father, and just the ridiculousness of him being like, oh, I'm no longer going to be president, like the whole like warm getting together, like all the friends being like, don't worry, we'll still support you, and all that. Oh, that was just brilliant, just like absolute comedy gold. And then with in a little dress-up suit and getting to play like pretending to be a ghost, and like Lloyd misinterpreting her little psychology bits, all comedy gold. Ah, I'm mixed on Fiona so far because I'm like, all right, I love this. I love the introduction of kind of like this femme fatale character. And we're kind of seeing like a little bit of the glimpses of like the deeper complexity and layers to her character with this last chapter. Because she reminds me very much of another character from, what is it? From Harry, the Dresden Files. I don't know whoever's read that. But she reminds me very, very strongly of, God, why the hell am I forgetting his name now? Jeez, I have to look this up quickly. God. Why is my brain so dead today? Give me a second here. Oh, Morgan. She reminds me of Morgan, that like her whole thing is like, oh, you know, Twilight taught me to be a spy, and he told us like spies are cold and emotionless, and I'm gonna model myself after him. It reminds me very much of that, where it's like, you know, we're gonna start to see that slow change where he's gonna have like where Lloyd's gonna start to realize that he's gonna fall in love with Yor, and you know he's gonna start breaking out of kind of like the mold he's built himself into of this spy. So I'm looking forward to that moment, to kind of seeing how they'll be changing and developing in that regard. I expect or I suspect that she and Yuri are probably going to team up at some point because they both want to break up the families. I can't wait to see that team up. And I have to say, I'm thinking that they might end, like Yuri and Fiona might end up making a good couple for themselves just because they're more alike, I think, than Lloyd and Yor are. So I'm glad we're kind of expanding the cast because it increases like the comedic possibilities and like the different situations and things you can kind of do. So I'm really looking forward to that. Anya's hissing cat face. This series just blows it away with the expressions every single time, and I love it so much. I just will never get over how amusing those are. It's an absolutely great series. Comedic highlight. Look forward to it every week when it comes out. Can't wait to react to the newest one tomorrow. And till next time, this is Ash. Talk to you all later.